Well, what's bigger than Texas? This is the Ford F150 Lariat. I'm Rod from Fleet News Group. Let's give it a go. And remember, if you like these videos, please hit that like button down there, as well as the subscribe button and the notification bell. That way you can be kept up to date with everything we're doing here at the Fleet News Group. Go on, smash away at that like button. You know you want to. Today I'm looking at the long wheelbase F150 Lariat, the big enchilada. We'll be taking a look at the styling of the vehicle, as well as what's under the bonnet. Also, I'll be talking about payload capacities, towing capacities, and also all the restraints and angles and the like for off-roading. We'll look inside the vehicle, and I'll take it for a drive as well and tell you my thoughts. So stick around to the end of the video as I open a window for you into the F150. First up, styling. Let's take a look at the styling of the F150. I think she's a real stunner, this truck. Beautiful chrome all over it. Very, very American looking. As they say, it's bigger than Texas. It really is a nice looking vehicle. Big 20-inch chrome wheels on there, 6 spokers. Very nice. The spare is actually an 18-inch tyre, not a 20-inch, but it's the same diameter, of course. Some things to help you out with towing. It has not one, but 2 recovery coins built into the vehicle from the get-go. Very good. You could always use the tow bar at the back with a receiver hitch if you needed to recover off-road from the rear. But looking at it here, I think she's a real pearl of this one. The red is a $700 option. All colours are a $700 option, but I think she looks really nice on the vehicle here. Nice attractive taillights, big chrome exhaust pipe down there, underneath out the back. The big F150 stamped in the tailgate there. Very nice. This vehicle began life as a left-hand drive. It was converted in the factory in Melbourne to right-hand drive. And some little telltale things you can see about the vehicle to let you know that. One of which is up here on the passenger side now, which used to be the driver's side, is a little keypad. And Ford gives you a passcode that will unlock the code and lock the car again. Unlock the car, lock the car, just by punching in that code. Cool. I think F150. There's big, there's bigger, and then there's this, the F150 Lariat long wheelbase, the big enchilada. Well, as they say, everything in the USA is bigger and better, and this vehicle is proof of it. The F150 Lariat, long wheelbase, that's what this vehicle is. It's absolutely huge. The length of it, 6,184 millimeters. The width, 2,430 millimeters. There's 3,994 millimeters between the axles. That's the wheelbase. That's bigger than some cars on the road in this country. Just that distance there, they're not even 4 metres long. This thing's 4 metres long between the wheels. But being so long and so big and so wide, you've really got to think, if you're buying this type of vehicle, be it the F150, the Ram 1500, the Silverado, the Toyota Tundra when it comes, they're big. There's no denying that. What are you going to do with it when you want to go to the shops? Because looking at it here right now, it's longer than the parking bay. The front tyres are right up against the curb, but yet out the back is still hanging out in the traffic way here. So there's that to consider. Oh, and there's another thing to consider as well with the long wheelbase versions of the F150, and that's the turning circle. 15.6 metres. It makes it very difficult to turn around in tight suburban streets. Roundabouts, well, you just generally drive over them where you can, but real tight turns, you're going to be backing it up, 3-pointing all the time. Just be aware of it. Well, what's under the bonnet? Let's take a look. Gas struts! Yes! Love those gas struts. So easy. Under the bonnet, F150s of old, F250s, even the old F100 from decades ago, all had a big V8. No more. Some were diesels in the past. Not in Australia. The F150 Lariat here has a 3.5 litre V6 twin turbo petrol. It even runs on E10. Power output is listed at 298 kilowatts and the torque 678 newton meters. It's all funneled through a full-time four-wheel drive system and 10-speed automatic transmission. Ford lists the fuel economy for this vehicle at 12.5 litres per 100 k's. And if you think you missed the V8 driving this thing, not at all. It really has the goods to get up and go. It's great fun to drive and just blast away in a straight line. Plenty of power to accelerate away, plenty of power and torque for towing. And that's what this one's all about. Well, here I am in the driver's seat of the F150. The cabin in this vehicle is absolutely huge. Fantastic. We've got the leather seats all round, leather wrapped steering wheel. The seats of course are not only heated but also cooled through the functions there. We've got some lovely knobs to control the temperature on either side, as well as the radio volume and tune. Of course, it's got a huge 12-inch touchscreen there. Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, very nice. Got additional 12 volt and USB outlets out here for your passenger if you need to be running something like a dash cam or the like. We've got a nice little hideaway compartment in here. Oh look, there's my phone in there charging wirelessly, but it can charge off the USB-C or USB-A in there as well. Let's push the thing and out she comes back again. As I said, lovely big infotainment screen there. And we have here full digital instrumentation, because this is the Lariat. It's got interchangeable things, you can show different functions on it, all sorts of things. We've then got down here the four-wheel drive modes that you can shift on the move. It is a full-time four-wheel drive this, but you can have it in 2 high as it is at the moment, 4 high, 4 low, or 4 automatic where it decides. And you can change the drive modes by twisting the knob around. I'll just show you up here. Just clear that. By changing those modes around, tells you you've got there slippery, normal, towing and hauling, so it changes things around when you've got the big bit on the back. Eco, sport, Go back the other way now. Deep snow and sand. There it is there. Mud and ruts. Very good indeed. Just put it back in the normal mode at the moment. That's very good. We've also got down here the trailer brake control built in, as well as this great little device here. What this does, the Pro Trailer Assist, is by moving, when you've engaged your trailer, you do have to program the system to let it know how long your trailer is, what type of trailer, what copper coupling you have and all that, but you do that up front, name the trailer, and you can use it anytime thereafter. But what it does is you can steer the trailer by moving this little knob left and right, which way you want the trailer to go. And it takes over all the steering of the vehicle to make that happen for you. You tell it you want it to go left, you twist it left, and it will move the steering wheel, as we know, to the right to make that happen. But you don't have to do that. You just drive and reverse it backwards there by doing that. That's a great innovation. I like that. Very good indeed. Then we've got here the big 10-speed transmission. Little secret it has. You push the button and she disappears. That then gives you the chance here to use the table, a bit of workspace. So if you're out on the job, need to write up some notes, have your laptop sitting somewhere to type in some info, there's an easy peasy fold out table there for you. How cool is that? And of course that then hides underneath the huge bin that's in there. Absolutely massive. And of course there's more outlets in there as well. Huge. Don't want to fall in there, you mightn't get out. But looking inside here, it is very, very nice indeed. And I almost forgot the coffee cup test. Well, I don't have a coffee cup today, but I've got my big water flask, fits in very nicely in the door there. Just drop her in and hold it in place. Or if you imagine it's a coffee cup, sits up there very nicely for the front seat passengers. But what's really cool, look at the size of the ones back here for the rear seat passengers. Absolutely gargantuan. Keep your drinks in place for when you need them. Well, let's have a look in the rear seat of the F150. It's absolutely gargantuan. Look at the space in here. It's so big I gotta pan the camera around. Huge big sunroof. Huge flat floor. Look at that, flat floor all the way through. No one has to sit either side of a transmission hub. Lovely leather seats here, as you'd expect, being the top of the line Lariat. Good old fold down armrest there with the cup holders. Lots of headroom, lots of space all around. But if you need a bit more space, the seats fold up. Just to show you down here, the other seat folds up too, but there's a whole heap of space in here when you don't have extra passengers but need extra space to carry stuff. Looking over here, we've got USB-A and USB-C. We've got the seat heating controls there for the outboard seats, and 12 volt, as well as the air vents and some big cup holders there as well. Plus, of course, you have the ones in the door. Nice spot there for your bottle. But there's lots of space and you could travel very comfortably in the rear here of the F150. There's a little window in the back window that opens up by pushing the button above the mirror near the sunglass holder, and just pull it back down to shut it back over again. Just open it up at the back here. Power tailgate, of course. Kind of expect that in a $150,000 plus ute, wouldn't you? There's nice measurements moulded in here for our tradie friends who are obviously doing a bit of work. Little holes here to put their clamps on to hold that stuff they're measuring in place. On the other side over here, we've got the light switch in here to turn the lights on in the back. And there's also a 12-volt socket down here as well. But how do you get up and in? There's a trick. One button. Pulls out a little step. Out comes the handle. Up she goes. And up you climb. It's all ready to carry the big loads. Let's talk about the tub here. There's 2,205 millimeters from the front of the tub along the floor to the rear. That's over 6 feet. Huge. Between the wheel arches, 1,285 millimeters. You fit pallets in here, easy peasy. And the height from the top of the tub here down to the floor is 543 millimeters. So there's a fair bit of space here to carry lots of stuff. Well, let's talk towing. This vehicle is built to tow. 4.5 ton towing capacity for braked trailers behind it. But as always, not everything is what it seems. Oh, 4.5 ton, clap it on, away we go. No, you need to understand the numbers and make sure that you're complying both with the road rules and being legal, therefore insurable. So let's talk the numbers. We know it's 4.5 tons brake towing capacity. But what are the other key weights that you need to be aware of? And as always, read the owner's manual, look up the spec sheet on the website, talk to your Ford dealer, find out before you get into it and find out it can or can't do what you want it to do. The big numbers to pay attention to. First up, the curb weight. What does this vehicle weigh, the F150 Lariat long wheelbase, with nothing in it? Need to know that. That's 2,555 kilos. That's just the car sitting here, as you see it right here, right now, without me on it, and very little fuel in it, and nothing else inside it at all. That's the curb weight. The next one is the gross vehicle mass. That is, what is the most that this vehicle can weigh with you, your family, the fuel, all your stuff in it. That is, in this vehicle's case, 3,265 kilos. That gives it a payload, the difference between those two numbers, of 710 kilos. Can't go over 3,265. But how does that come back into the equation when it comes to towing? Well, whatever you're towing, approximately 10% of the weight of that trailer, be it a boat, a caravan, a big trailer with equipment on it, whatever, is 10% of that weight. And that gets subtracted or used up inside the payload. So the payload on this particular vehicle, as I said, is 710 kilos. You take 450 kilos off if you're towing a 4.5 ton trailer, that drops the payload down to 260 kilos, and that's for you, the family, the fuel, whatever you put in it, with that trailer on the back. It's kind of getting down there. You might need to consider where you put that stuff. There won't be no loading up all the back of it here full to the gunnels, then whacking 4.5 ton trailer on it, because you will probably go over the gross vehicle mass, and you may well exceed what's called the gross combination mass, and that is how much the F150 and whatever you're towing, caravan, boat, trailer, doesn't matter, cannot weigh more than 7,765 kilos, 7.765 ton. That's an awful lot to be towing on the road. But done safely and correctly and staying within the limits, this thing's one awesome bit of kit, and it can really tow well. Well, what's it like driving the F150? Wow, I feel like the camera's in a different suburb to me at the moment. It's absolutely gargantuan in here. It's huge. I feel like you need to have in-car communications to talk to the passengers because it's just so much space in here. F150 is a big vehicle in every respect, and it's one that it's just comfortable to drive. You've got so much space, so much comfort. It's just great. I really like it. It's surprising how easy it is to drive a vehicle of this size. Once you're up and concentrating on driving on the road ahead, you don't really notice how big it is. Get into a bit of a twisty road, it'll certainly remind you. It is a big vehicle and it needs to be driven as such. But what this vehicle's all about is cruising and towing. And it does that absolutely effortlessly. It is fantastic. Out on the open road, it is just so quiet. Bit of road noise coming in from the tyres at the moment, not much at all, not that intrusive, but it is just such a comfortable and quiet and easy car to drive. And when you need to go, we're just coming up to the 100 zone now, you put your foot down, there's the 100. Wow, nice roar of the motor. It almost sounds like a V8. It is really nice throaty roar up around 3000 RPM where the maximum torque kicks in, and it just absolutely leaps and hammers away. And it's surprising, something that weighs a curb weight of over 2.5 tonne can just leap and fly away, but it just shows you the power it has to be able to do what it needs to do, to tow those heavy loads and to do it comfortably. Like seriously, if you've got a huge boat on the back, caravan, even a horse float, I don't think this thing would even notice it. It's amazing how well the engine performs. The 10-speed auto, super smooth. You hardly detect when the gears change, and you've got to look at the little monitor of what it actually says you're in. I'm in 9th gear at the moment at 100 k's an hour, and I am doing 1.6 thousand RPM, 1600 RPM. And it's in 9th, it's not even in 10th. So it is just really nice to drive in the open road. Comfortable, quiet, dare I say it, luxurious. This is the Lariat, the top of the line with leather everything in here, heated and cooled seats. It's got the bigger infotainment screen in here as well as was the full digital instruments in the instrument panel there. Leather steering wheel, the huge panoramic glass roof, which is a sunroof and does open, but I'll spare you the wind noise of that. Not that it's intrusive, but the camera will hear it. But it is just such a nice vehicle to drive. How are you going to go with living in it every day? I think you could, but you have to learn a few different things. There's no just racing down the shops for a coffee. You've got to think where you're going to park this thing, because it takes up 1.5 parking spaces just about. It is huge. It's over 6 metres long, so you've got to think about where you're going to put it. And that's a big thing. Macca's drive-through. It's never going to happen again. It is just too big, too long. And if you want a coffee from Macca's, well, you're going to be walking in. Simple as that. You can park it at Macca's, yeah, but they won't go through the drive-through. That being considered, couldn't you live with it every day? I think you could. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you could. That's nice to know. They're out in force today. But it is a car, yes, you can live with it. And if you need something this big to tow, of course, you're going to realise that and you're going to know what you need to do. So that being the case, I like it. This is the kind of vehicle that if you have a caravan and you're doing the lap of Australia, and that's your big dream to do it, this is the kind of vehicle that is really going to do the job for you well. It probably won't even know it's been around Australia. It'd be that easy for it. As an on-road tower, it is fantastic. It has off-road ability, but I do think that's a little bit compromised when it comes to, because it's so big compared to other four-wheel drives. You know, it's over 6 metres long, nearly 2.5 metres wide, and it's only got a ground clearance of 225 mil. Yeah, there's going to be better options if you're into serious off-roading, like doing the Simpson Desert, something like that, it'll probably do it, but it's do it a bit harder than some others. Like Ranger or Everest might be a better choice in that situation. But for big, heavy towing, doing that big lap, if this is the kind of thing you need and you're looking to novate a vehicle like this, I think this one should be at the top of your list. It's a pearler. Well, let's talk about safety and driver assist features on the F150. Just grab my notes again here, because there's an awful lot of gear going on here. Number one, for safety, it's got autonomous emergency braking and evasive steering assist for emergencies. It's got the usual suite of driver aid features like blind spot monitoring, lane keep assist, lane departure alert, all those sort of stuff, as well as adaptive cruise, 360-degree camera, which is absolutely phenomenal. It sees everything as you're driving around trying to park this thing, which, being so large, you need all the help you can get. Front and rear cameras as well, and rear cross traffic alert on the rear camera, as well as a reverse braking assistant on the rear. It is a complete suite of features and safety that goes and complements everything else that Ford's done for this vehicle, and it is very, very good. Well, as the decal on the back says, it's a 4x4. The Lariat here is a full-time 4x4. The XLT, the lower grade model, is a part-time 4x4. But 4x4s, where are they meant to go? Off-road. And this one can do it as well, quite comfortably. But there's some key numbers, just as there is with towing, that you need to be aware of before you set off on that adventure going off-road. Forgive me for the notes again. The approach angle, very important when you're approaching an obstacle on a bush track. 24 degrees is the approach angle. That's from the tyre up to the front of the front bumper bar. That's what will take to clear as you climb up to obstacle. The ramp over angle, that is the angle to the center point here between each of the axles underneath, up and over, so as you crest and go over the obstacle, that's 19 degrees is the maximum. And the departure angle, once you've gone over the obstacle and you've come down the other side and you're clearing onto the flat again, at the back here, that's 26.3 degrees. That, coupled with this vehicle's ground clearance, is 225 millimeters. But this is the big long wheelbase version, where the long wheelbase gains and is probably a bit better at towing than the short wheelbase. I think the short wheelbase version, which you can get in Lariat and XLT, is probably a little bit superior when it comes to 4x4 and off-roading. For a start, the ground clearance is 239 millimeters. So there's an extra 14 mils, 1.4 centimeters clearance underneath. The approach angle goes up to 24.3 degrees. The ramp over angle goes up to 20 degrees. And the departure angle just pairs back a little bit from the 26.3 on the long wheelbase back to 25.3. Small trade-off there, but it's only 1 degree. But it's a big 4x4 ute. It is capable of doing off-roading, very much so. But it's big, and you need to consider that for where you take it to. Well, what's the ownership experience like with the Ford F150? Like all Ford vehicles in Australia, it comes with a 5-year unlimited kilometre warranty. It also has cap price servicing, and the service intervals are set every 12 months or 15,000 kilometres. But as always, when you take it to your Ford dealer to be serviced, the best thing is they'll give you another car to drive for the day. How cool is that? as they say, tell them the price, son. What's it going to cost you if you're looking for a vehicle like this on your next novated lease? The pricing Ford has released for these vehicles, it's not short of needing a lot of coin, that's for sure. A lot of coin for one of these. The entry-level price for a white XLT short wheelbase, Ford lists the drive-away price as $117,020 drive-away here in New South Wales. All the colours, whether it be on the XLT variant or the Lariat, is a $700 option. So when you look at this one in this colour here right now, in a short wheelbase, it's $151,731 drive away for the short wheelbase. And then there's this one, the big enchilada. Long wheelbase Ford F150 Lariat here in New South Wales, drive away as advised by Ford, $152,756. It is a big American ute. It costs a lot of money, no denying that, but it tows that big horse float for you, boat, trailer, caravan, whatever. Doing the big lap around Australia, it may well be suited to that task for you. But you've got to remember, she's big, costs a lot, and you ever going to go to the shops? That to consider. The Ford F150 Lariat, the flagship of the new American import utes by Ford into Australia. It is big, it is comfortable. Honestly, if you're towing something, this is the kind of vehicle that you should have. Big, heavy capabilities at 4.5 tonne. It's comfortable to drive on the open road. You got to consider, would you use it every day as a daily driver? Going to the shops, it's going to be difficult. Takeaway food drive-through, that's not going to happen again with one of these things. It's too big to go through all that. Too long, it's over 6 metres long, this vehicle. But in what it's designed to do, and that's what you really need to consider, if that's what you need in your next novated lease, this one I'd put at the top of the list, because it is just so comfortable, such a pleasure to drive on the open road, cruises effortlessly, and whatever you've got behind it being towed, it won't even know it's there. It's expensive, yeah, over 150k drive away, there's no denying that, but all the big American utes that are coming to the country now are around that price point. I think it's a great car. I've really enjoyed driving it, and it's something I think you should consider if this is the type of vehicle that you're looking for. In any case, remember, if you like these videos, please remember to hit that like button down below, as well as the subscribe button and the notification bell. That way you can be kept up to date with everything we've got going on, including driving the big enchilada. It's a big truck, it's a lot of fun to drive. So you can keep up to date with everything we're doing here at the Fleet News Group. I'm Rod, thank you very much for watching, and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.